G'day guys, Josh Huggett here from Joshua Huggett Media, and welcome to Tog Talk, a show where we talk about stuff. And today, the stuff that we're talking about is here. There, look at them. We're talking to Oak and Iron Photography. Is it Oak and Iron Studios or Oak and Iron Photography? Because I've got studios in my head.
Yeah, you are. You have it in your head. It's just Oak and Iron. I guess technically Oak and Iron Photo.
Yeah.
I guess to the business, it's Oak and Iron Photography.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we had like this big existential crisis that Oak and Iron Photo Co. sounded cooler like 2 weeks ago. And then I was like, ooh, that's kind of fun. But I was like, no, it's just, we're too deep right now. There's too many backlinks to Oak and Iron Photo. We're trapped.
That's why I
We're
still
stuck.
run everything through Joshua Huggett Media, even though I'm back to just going as Josh Huggett, because everything is Joshua Huggett Media. And I'm just kind of stuck.
But I mean, you do video too, and you have the pod. So you are kind of everything. You are media.
I had a real full circle moment when the other day someone mentioned me in a reel and they were like, oh, what was his name? And he said, it was Joshua Huggett from Joshua Huggett Media. And I was like, yeah, the line's working. That thing I say is doing the thing. But I made up Oak and Iron Studios in my head. I even said it
You
this
did. I
morning
saw
in
that.
my
I was
reel.
like, I was like, he's making things up. He's lying about us.
It's very early in the morning. Kyle, Bianca, can you tell me everything about you? More like how you got to where you are, what you do, who you are, because although we have a somewhat similar audience because we started a cross-country magic contest, and everybody that I got a lot of responses being like, oh my God, I love these guys as well. So we do have a little bit of cross-contamination.
Oh no.
We're back. This is my fiddle pen that I just fiddle with during podcasts because I've got ADHD, and I literally just sit here making it disappear, but it's always out of camera. Like I always have it down here, and I just practice. But yeah, tell me everything about you. Well, not me, because I already know a lot of stuff, but you tell everybody else all about you.
Yeah, we're Bianca, Kyle. Everyone calls her B. We started the company back in 2016. Within the same year of starting the company, got married, and then it was just kind of balls to the wall. We sat many a days because when we started the company, we had just bought our home, and then probably about a month later, I got laid off from my job, and Bianca had just quit her job like 3 weeks prior because I was like, what are you doing? She was like, I'm just going to go be a server for a little bit. I don't want to do anything photography related because she went to college for it, had worked in a studio for a few years prior, and then was just like, I just want to do anything not photography related. That lasted 2 days. So I was like, quit. What are you doing? Like, we're fine. It'll be okay. And at the time we had taken on a couple weddings. We were probably like 3 weddings in. Yeah. And this was before Oak and Iron. I guess technically it was just like Your Name Photography.
Yeah.
That would be a good name for just a company, Your Name Photography. But, yeah, so we started, we were like 3 weddings under our belt. I think on the books we had like maybe 2 more.
Yeah.
Like I said, got laid off. And then we were like, okay. Came home and I was like, there was no panic. It was actually super calm. We're just like, we're just going to make this work. And we just like at the time, like Facebook marketing was kind of at its like height. So we were literally in every group. You know, all the garage sale groups, not just wedding groups. It was like anything where people existed. For some reason, people were looking for wedding photographers. I don't know. And so we were just like, cool. If we spend every waking minute just like hitting people up or responding to these, I think we'll make it work. And then it was like, started booking, started to get better. Every wedding, we were just like solving different problems. And then pretty quickly on, we were just like, I think we could do something a little bit extra with like portrait time. So we started to develop our style. And then just many, many reps over 9 years, coming on 10 years, we are what we are today. Just strange.
That's exactly what I tell every single person to do. Everyone's like, yeah, how do you get started? How do I fucking, start booking weddings? I don't have any money for marketing. Because that's exactly what I did as well. And I was like I started 2017, started taking it seriously. And that's what I did, the exact same thing. I did all the Facebook groups. I typed in Adelaide wedding and wedding Australia and just joined every single fucking group. And I was just like waiting. And I had all the notifications turned on my phone. So anytime somebody posted in one of those groups, I would get a notification and I would see if it was photography related. And I'd be like, here's my fucking chance. And I feel like I'm screaming this into a void. But it's like, there is no other industry in the world. There is nothing in the world where people ask you to market to them. Hey, I want to buy this thing. Can you put your ad in front of me so I can choose? Like, that doesn't happen anywhere. And no one takes advantage of it. So it's fun finally hearing someone that's done the exact same thing as me. Like, because everyone's like, yeah, I just posted on Reels, or like I posted on Instagram and then we kind of got our bookings. I find it interesting that you went balls to the wall straight out of the gate. Like, you came out, quit jobs, we're going to be photographers. What did you do in between the booking the wedding and the actual wedding where you get paid? So like you get deposits. Were you doing like other photography jobs as well?
Yeah, so
I was going to say, I think we did a lot of like portrait sessions, so families, couples, whatever we could. We were not afraid to like hang out with some families and get pictures of their kids and stuff like that. So
it was literally just like anything we could do. If someone wanted headshots, if someone wanted branding, those first 4 years was just like anything we can get. Like, the more reps we get, the better we are going to be. Everything kind of will help the wedding side, because like if you can photograph families and wrangle little kids, well, there's sometimes kids at weddings and it all helps. And it would, just friggin' just go, we just went nuts. But I mean, I still think nowadays it's so different with like Reels and TikTok. I do feel like an old man being like, you don't know how easy you have it. Because I mean, like growing like an Instagram back then, like pre-TikTok and Reels, was like, it felt like your only two options were getting your work featured on one of like the big wedding pages, which felt like killing yourself. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is dreadful. Like, having to post in Facebook groups so that maybe they would feature you and then put you up, and then maybe 20 people would follow you, but it was just photographers. So like, unless photographers want to hire you and you have work that other photographers like, it was just like useless.
Yeah. And then or the other option was do you remember when people used to go and like, you'd find somebody's account and you'd like their last 4 posts so that you hopefully turned up on their page, like maybe they'd come back through. Whereas now you just post one video, you could have 150,000 followers like the next day.
Yeah, I was going to say also, that was during like Instagram follow trains and stuff like that. They do the
follow for follows?
Follow for follow. Everybody gets on the post and just goes crazy with each other. Yeah.
Again, just completely useless.
Yeah. You just got a bunch of people that aren't ever going to engage with your content. They're never going to look at your photos.
Yeah.
But now you've got 67 followers instead of 64, so it looked a little bit better.
Hey, dude, you've made it.
Yeah, I've done it. I'm almost at 69. I'll retire there, dinner for 2, and we're ready to go. Oak and Iron. Is there anything interesting in Oak and Iron, or is it just like because it sounds sick?
There's like 2 stories. One was like, we were just driving around thinking of what we were going to call the company, and we were at a red light, and I was like, I want to like exist for as long as humanly possible. And I was like, what are like companies that sound old and sounds like something that would like exist in 100 years? And we were like, oh, like those like hat shops in the UK? It'll be like the Pig and Cane. You're just like, hell yeah, like I want to be that. And so we were just like saying different noun and nouns. And then we said Oak and Iron. We were like, huh. There's a certain je ne sais quoi to this.
I was going to say, this was well before everyone in the world started doing that too. So like everybody was doing the whole their name plus photo or their name plus media. We just didn't, because there was 2 of us. We were like, we don't really want to like pick which one goes first and, stuff like that.
Technically, Soulja Boy's the first to do everything on the internet though.
Yes,
so we
true.
are not the first.
But yeah.
And then the story we made up, which actually ended up working, was that so in Florida, Could be other places. Probably is. Down in South Florida, there's these worm farmers. And so they get these...
Good start.
Hold on with me. And so they have these...
We got a point.
They have these wooden stakes that they put in the ground. And then they take these big metal iron files and they wave it back and forth. And then all of a sudden from the ground, just hundreds of worms go up through the ground because they think it's a mole. And so we were like, oak and iron photography because we're groundbreaking. I was like, oh, shit, that works. And that was like a year and a half after we called ourselves that.
Naming your photography business after a tool that worm farmers use is probably the most Florida thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's fun
So is
watching
it like
them
one of
do
those
it, too.
wobble boards? Like,
It looks like it looks like a plank of wood. You know, a plank of wood or a
Yeah.
plank of
And then like an
steak,
iron
and then
with like
a big file.
just like a giant like emery board kind of thing.
Yeah, with like
little
little
divots.
Yeah, like scalloped
Yeah.
things, and it literally makes like a fun little
I didn't even
type of sound.
I don't think in my entire 33 years of existence I've ever wondered if there was a worm farm. And now I want to know how many worm farms exist. That's not something I ever thought somebody would farm.
Yeah, I mean,
We got a really big fishing population. Like people love to fish out here, so
it's like the most redneck thing
Yeah.
like possible is like farming for worms. There's a couple towns north of us where it is the sticks, and there's a actual like wooden telephone pole that one guy had stapled a little almost like a little quart container, you know, that like line cooks drink out of, and it literally just had worms, and it was like, take them as you need. I was like,
and like leave
this
a
is
quarter or something.
strange.
Yeah.
Very weird. But it's kind of sick. It's super metal.
Yeah. When you said like the worms were coming out of the ground, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get some like real black metal shit. Like, yeah, because we want it to be like, you know, the photos will never decay and the worms are coming up and we're gonna fight them because we're the because we're groundbreaking. It's been good.
It works.
Yeah.
How would you say? Would you say that Florida, being Florida, has its, because Florida has a stigma to it, doesn't it? It's got Florida man syndrome, Florida man thing.
Yeah.
Does it have a
Florida man.
different wedding scene to the rest of America? I feel like it would maybe be more relaxed there.
So it's
That sucks.
it's a lot. It's still crazy. You
Yeah.
know, like there's like major partiers here.
Yeah.
It's like a mixed bag. You have your people that are really conservative and they have really traditional weddings, and it's super, you know, you get married at a chapel and then you have a little reception, and some of them are super dry weddings, so everyone's just very like straight laced. And then you have ones that people are just like, you know, beer bongs and keg stands, and it's insane. But I will say this, the reason that Florida man is a thing, it's because I don't think that there's like this law that Florida media can get sent out for like national distribution. They're not like they don't hold it like private at all.
Like the news and stuff.
So they can
Yeah.
they send these clips everywhere. And
So
so
they-
people just think Florida's like extra insane, but I don't know, I don't think that those people have been to like Houston, Texas. That's a crazy place.
Yeah, that
or like
sounds
Portland, Oregon. Insane.
I've never been to Portland. See, and I only have two thoughts when it comes to Florida, and that is one, Florida man, because that's what you see on the internet, and the second one is just like where people go to retire. Like it's just doesn't everybody like just pack up and retire and they go to Florida, and you just, because it's always kind of warm there, and that's just your like relaxing state. Is that true?
Yeah, now I think post-pandemic it's changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you're seeing a lot of the towns that were predominantly seniors have like this massive resurgence of like late 20s, mid 30s. A lot of families are moving down here.
Yeah.
Because right now we're kind of in like a cost of living crisis. It's super expensive here, but for a very long time it was just extremely cheap.
Yeah.
And after COVID, I feel like a lot of people moved down here because we had no regulations. It was free to do whatever. I think we shut down for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
So a lot of people moved here for that reason, which honestly benefited us. It was actually funny during the pandemic because like everyone assumed that we were struggling. And so we booked probably more sessions than we've ever booked ever because everyone was like sympathy booking us. They're like, I feel real bad, so I'm going to book 2 family sessions this year. And we're like, okay. Sick. And then it just ended up being like totally fine.
We had the same thing here in Adelaide. So where I live is like in the middle of Australia, down the bottom. And we're kind of maybe not the Florida of Australia, but we're like definitely like one of the smaller states. And we didn't shut down at all. We literally had a 7-day lockdown, and our Prime Minister, not Prime Minister, what do we got? Mayor, whatever, whoever's in charge. He was just like, you've been pretty good, don't worry about it. And like, just stopped. Because everywhere else in Australia, everybody got told, don't go outside. There's a big pandemic, people are dying, everybody's getting really sick. And most of Australia went, fuck you, we're not doing that. We're Australians. We don't listen to anybody. We're going to go out and do whatever we want. And then it just got really, really bad. And then they all got locked down. Whereas in Adelaide, we were just like, that sounds pretty rough. All right, we'll stay inside for a couple of days. Like, we'll wash our hands. And then we just never got locked down. We're watching like Melbourne and like all these other states have months and months and months where they weren't allowed to leave their house because they kept not listening and going out and like having big rallies, but then the numbers would like double because they were all in the same fucking spot. Whereas we just like listened, and then we had like 100 days where we had nobody got COVID in South Australia in our entire state because we were all just good. We were like, yeah, cool. That makes sense. Like, if we go outside, we're going to get sick. We stayed inside for like 48 hours, and then we just lived our normal lives. So we had this whole thing where people were trying to get into South Australia to get married. Heaps of people have since moved here because they realised that it's actually a really good place to live, which sucks because I like that. Just don't come here. Don't come to Adelaide. If you're watching this and you live in Australia, don't come to Adelaide. It sucks here. It's really bad. But we were still able to like shoot weddings and stuff all the way through. And that's where I feel like there's this big turning point in wedding photography where there's so many new studios and companies and photographers now that were able to like adapt in that COVID time and kind of take all of this momentum, because people were like, wow, photos mean so much more now and we need photographers. And so all these not old people, but older companies kind of fell at the wayside because they weren't ready and willing to adapt and change everything. And then now we're fucking here. And you guys are a testament to that. You went and dug your heels in, and
that's how it that's how it was here as well. Yeah. And before, that whole thing happened, we were always doing elopements. That was always like a big thing, because like that's what we did. So it was always like a thing that we got to like bond with the elopement crowd that we would photograph. And so, like I said, it just felt like that lull didn't really affect a whole lot. If anything, it just changed how we did market because of things like TikTok and Reels. Like the short form just got like good. Yeah. It got really nice.
Yeah.
So one more question on backstory before I move, because it's been in my fucking head since we started. Bianca, you studied photography. You did it in school. You were like, I just love taking photos. I love being this person. You, Kyle, didn't do any of that? Did you have either together or separate, have like a sort of a tipping point where you were like, no, I actually want to do this forever. Like, this is actually my thing. Because like Bianca, more maybe creative in school or whatever, and that's what led you down that photography path. Did you have any of those sort of tipping points, Kyle? Or?
Well, yeah, I went to college for design and stuff, and I'd always been in art, vice president of the art club in high school.
Nice.
Did the whole band thing. So, I was always creative as well. But it was really one of those things of like, I hated it when we first started doing this. Mm-hmm. And it sounds shitty, but it is the truth. It was like, what we made in one wedding is what I made an entire month doing my job before. And it wasn't a whole lot. I do attribute a lot of our success with the fact that when we bought our home, we bought it in our very modest home. Like, our bills are extremely cheap. Our cost of living is very easy. And so like that just helped kind of like price structure and being like, oh, well, what we need to even technically be paycheck to paycheck is like if we did one wedding a month. So I was like, I think if we try hard enough, we can book 12 weddings a year. Because we're already living paycheck to paycheck, before. So I was like, now we can live paycheck to paycheck and do something that's more artistic. And I feel like we're in complete control of this. And it's something that, it feels important. It is important. We're doing something that people are going to cherish for generations. So I was like, this feels a lot better than moving furniture. So it just kind of like, it was slow growing pains, but I think we were pretty fortunate because Bianca went to college outside of the state. So I think third wedding in, we were already getting paid to travel for weddings, which again was just like really out of our control. I don't think, anything could have planned that. But once we got that first one, I think people saw they're responsible enough to travel, do the job, deliver the photos, so they kind of know what they're doing, I guess. And then it just kind of made everything a little bit easier from there.
Totally.
But then once we started to, it probably was about that third or fourth wedding in where we stopped just like assuming what a wedding photographer does. And we were like, okay, we have this down, I believe. No one's complained. Everything seems to be good. We got the contracts. We know how to go about the day. So now how can we make this more fun? And then it was like, all right, well, after we do what they want for portraits, let's go sneak in like one or two things that like might be like self-gratifying and feels like something that like would just be a little funky. And then we just did that every single wedding to the point that we were like, well, now we have like 20 different things we could do. So we'll just pick and choose or let the client pick and choose of what they want for the extras. And then every year just got like, we didn't have to ask if they wanted funky stuff. They're just like, no, I want this. They're just, instead of like for, inspo boards, they started sending our Instagram or stuff from our website. We were like, oh, this is pretty nice. And I was like, we can do that. We can definitely do that. And like I said, it's just constantly doing that. And then we were on Summer's pod, and I had told her, I was like, I forget what comedian it was, but like we started to take like our banger photo that we would save as like the finale, and we would put that forward. So it kind of forced us to do something more creative towards the end. We were like, okay, we already did what was our most creative idea. We can't like flop after that. So we got to like push it. And then that's kind of how we are now. Well, where we are now.
Yeah.
That's fucking kismet. That leans perfectly into the next question that I had, which was, how would you sort of describe your style in 3 words if possible? Because I don't think there is a right answer to this because your style's fucked, but fucked could be one of the words. But
what would you say?
I don't know. We call it
silly style.
Silly style. Like
2 words, silly style.
Fucked silly style.
That's great.
Because it is like, and I don't want to blow too much smoke up your ass, but it's unlike anybody else is doing. Like, there are people that do bits and pieces of it. They'll do like, none of the, and like we spoke about just before we started, but like none of the techniques, at least that I've seen, are too out there. Like, they're all pretty done techniques that, lots of people have in their arsenal already, but you were able to kind of weave them in a way, and whether it's post-processing, whether it's like on the, like it's, I don't know, it's just fucked. It's fucked silly style. It's...
Well, and like a lot of it really just came from like, there was like periods of inspiration of seeing other photographers go outside their comfort zone. And we were like, ooh, I like how that person thinks. How can we do our own version of that?
Yeah.
And there was like, kind of going back to the Facebook thing, We were talking about this earlier today. There was like a really interesting point in the wedding photography world, and that was between 2017 and 2018. There was a few Facebook groups, but the most important one, I feel, and it's long gone, it imploded. I don't even know why.
I mean, I think it's still going, but it's just definitely not what it used to be at all.
But it was like the haven for people really pushing limits, and it was Looks Like Film. And it was like the golden age of that group, again, was that 2017 to 2018. What was so cool about it is there was a real community of photographers that were posting their work, and if you got over 300 likes, you got a thing called a choo-choo. And the choo-choo meant you got featured on their website. So like for the week or the month, you would see this list of photographers who had like the most banger photos, but it wasn't chosen by a board or a committee or one person. It was literally the photographer said, this is the sickest photo. And during that time, we had nothing but time to post. And so we would like shoot a wedding, shoot an engagement session, and we were like, what are our sickest photos? Let's post and let's see where it goes. And there was the cool thing was that you had people that were like industry leaders who were on the same playing field as people that were a couple months or a year or two in, both of which were thriving. And so many things that exist in the world of like the creative side of wedding photography, I truly do feel kind of started in that group. I always say his name. He's one of our closest friends, Ryan from Shutter Go Click. He was one of the like legends, still is one of the legends of like double exposures. He had a very and like a very particular style.
Yeah.
Go look him up, Shutter Go Click. He was like one of those dudes. We grew up a big friendship with him over time. And it was like every day he posted, then we would post. We would post, then he posted. And it wasn't malicious. It was literally like, ooh, I love what you did. We're going to twist that next time. And after, a year or two, we're like stronger than ever. And it was like, everyone says community over competition. I actually think a healthy, fun little, meaningless competition,
I think it's
only going to make everyone better, and like so much stuff came from that group of like that you'll see now. And it wasn't just like the creative side, it was people that did now what would be considered like documentary style. People would of like, oh, how did you do that prompt, or what got those results? And it was just like, it was so wonderful. And I do contribute a lot of what we do now to that group, because everyone just constantly pushed each other. And then it got so gnarly that they stopped doing the 300, and then it was like, if you got 1,000 likes, then you got put on like the like Hall of Fame of like the Looks Like Film 1000. And we were like, oh well, now we super gotta try. And so it was like every time we like had stuff in mind that we would go into a wedding of like, okay, how can we do this different? How can we do this better? Because, I mean, even with the doubles, like, doubles have gotten easier because of technology. Back then, we were using Nikon D800s. For the first 7 years, all of our doubles were done blind. There was no live view. There was no seeing things matching up. We didn't do it in post ever. It was just like, if it came out good, it came out good. It was just like literally steady hands.
Don't
just
move.
Like hope.
Don't breathe.
Which is why like a lot of our stuff is like people just standing there, very rigid, because we had to. It was like, please don't move. Like, you have to be as still as humanly possible. And it wasn't like necessarily a style choice. It was a functional choice. And then people just started requesting it, and they liked that. Everyone loves the, American Gothic, and like they like those stoic stuff. And we were just like, it's easy to do. It's kind of like, it's like wrestling. It's like the best finishing moves are ones you could do to everyone. You can't, do a power bomb to someone that's, 600 pounds, but you can give a big boot to pretty much everyone. And so I was like, oh, well, if we have stuff that everyone can do, it's just going to make us able to have like, I hate saying predictable results, but as professionals, that is kind of what we need to do. We need to give predictable results. Not everyone wants you to experiment and hope for the best on their day. It's like, no, we can execute this. If you want it, you got it. Just let us know. So
That's
it was
what
just like,
I tell a lot of people that they need to bring and do less shit on wedding days so that you know what's actually going to happen. Like, we've probably got 10, 15 poses that we'll bring to every wedding day. And I know if I do those 10 to 15 poses, I can do them in probably 20 minutes. No matter what happens around that, I've got a gallery. I've got a gallery that they're going to be happy with. Yes, we take the exact same photos every weekend, but it's the first time that these guys have had those photos taken at their wedding day because it's probably their first wedding day. So we have that, like, that little bank. And I find it interesting that you said that you try to take your banger first and then you're like, how can I one up that? Because I always try to, I call it securing the bag, and I'll do my run around and I'll like quickly get my 10 to 15 poses so I know I've got a solid gallery. And then I go, how can we get weird now? Like, what can we do now to like boost that creativity? Do you then go and, are you location scouting pre-wedding? So, because you do a lot of like industrial stuff and more cityscapes. So you're just turning up blind as well?
Yeah.
yeah. Kind of the benefit of being a duo is that, at least with the wedding day, if B is with the couple or whatever, I'm always just going ahead and seeing what exists. A lot of the time, like if Bianca's going and the couple, if there's a bride, usually there's more prep with brides. So I was like, I have a little bit of breathing room, so I can go look real quick, get a general idea. But honestly, like sometimes we don't even like doing that, because if you're looking at locations and it's 1 PM, if we're not doing portraits until 5, that spot might be dog shit. It's useless. The lighting might be atrocious. There might be a tree. And I was like, well, this is spotty bullshit now. So I was like, what the hell was the point of even, now I got my hopes up. So sometimes we do just like going into it like full, like jazz. Like we're going to improv when we need to. But going back on what we said of like predictable results, we just have such a catalog of stuff and ideas that it usually something's going to work, and then obviously clients have their shot lists if they have one. And so now because we are kind of not done with our experimenting, but now it's like just minor tweaks, and really all we're just trying to figure out now is how to take pictures of people sitting down. I don't know why we have such a hard time with that. I was like, I don't know. I just
cannot do that.
I was like, I don't know what you do, like sitting down.
Where do you put the legs?
And I was like, I don't know, just stand up, like
Yeah.
just be standing. That's literally like our biggest problem right now. But like now it's just like get their shot list. I was like, okay, they're happy. And again, like I said, we started to do like the show that like banger really at the beginning. If like a client never did like an engagement session with us, more so to solidify in their mind, okay, cool. Like it's already sick. We already have one banger photo. I don't know what it is as photographers that we do feel like people need. Mind you, we overshoot. We overshoot so much, but I feel like
How many photos you take a wedding?
Say we're shooting like an 8-hour wedding, we're probably delivering like 1,600 photos.
And we're taking
Yeah, I'll deliver like 1,200.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, we always say the more that happens, the more there is. If your reception's crazy, you're going to have a bajillion photos. If you have a bunch of guests, that's going to elongate like the amount of stuff. Elongate. What kind of word is that?
Shooting though, how many do you say you get in an 8-hour day? Because I get about like 4,000 to 5,000 on average for an 8-hour day.
I take less because I'm in.
Well,
thought.
I'm doing like family.
I'll do like 2,500.
Yeah, and I'm doing the family formal photos. I'm doing the like those like more like necessary traditional photos, while he's going and getting candids and stuff like that too. So like with those, I'm like just burst shooting just to make sure I get everybody smiling or no blinking. So that's like a majority of that number as well.
Yeah.
At least a discrepancy, but like yeah, we average around like 6,000 photos between the both of us.
But I feel like that number was way more in not the beginning years, but maybe the middle.
Yeah.
Because we were figuring it out, and we were just like, I don't know. I think it was like a lot more people were at weddings. Do you guys still have like 150 person weddings?
I mean, I'm sure we do. I don't go.
Like it's every once in a while though, right? It's not like
I say like most I shoot is like 110, 120, and if someone says 120, I go, "Fuck, really?"
Yeah.
Really
So
need
even
many
that,
people there?
that even cuts down the number because we'll have a lot of weddings, not a majority, but a lot that'll still have like 60 people. Some will have like 30 people, and I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna have less because we're only gonna photograph. You hugging this person 4 times before we say, okay, you don't need any more photos of you hugging this person. This is getting ridiculous.
Are you finding now? Are you still taking as many photos of the same thing as you were? Because I remember when I was starting and I was on the 5D Mark III, which is the Canon. I would take a photo of the rings and I'd be like, that looks like it was in focus. I'll just take 6 or 7 more just in case. Then I went through a phase where like we got to mirrorless. And it was in focus, and I was like, I'll just take 6 or 7 more just in case. I was taking the same amount of photos, and now I've come back. I'm taking like 3,500 to 4,000 a 10-hour wedding day.
Yeah.
Because I've also stopped taking photos of things I know I'm not going to deliver. I got really in my own head, and maybe there's someone out there that is very similar, that if I wasn't always taking photos, then I wasn't like earning my money or anything. So I was just taking photos of anything that was happening at all times. I was like, just making sure I was like out there taking, and I would never deliver any of the photos. And I'm just like fucking burning through SD cards. I'm burning through Dropbox. I'm burning through hard drives. So now I've really gone back to like just taking photos of things I know I'm actually going to deliver, but I'll still deliver like 1,200 photos because and you guys may be similar in that I would rather give my couples too many photos and then I tell my couples, I'm like, if you don't like a photo, delete it. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's there though.
I don't think
we call that future proofing.
Yeah.
So I was like, you cannot like it now, but there's a chance. I can't guarantee it, but there's a chance in 15 years you might really like that photo because inevitably, harsh truth, but like, people pass away and stuff like that. I was like, that might have been a super literally whatever photo. But we tell clients like in meetings, I was like, as much as we are doing like the really beautiful candids and the really interesting portraits, we are not too good to take incredibly boring photos because I still feel like as wedding photographers, our number one priority is to document proof. It's just to document proof of things happening. Now, your friends literally getting an hors d'oeuvre could be not interesting at all, but I don't know. That could mean something to you later. We're not there to dictate the meaningfulness of your photos. I don't know how many times it happens to you, but where you're like, okay, here's like the sickest photo, or here's the 5 like sickest photos from the gallery, and then your client will say, these other 5 were my favorite, and you're like, I'm glad I included them because I was literally going to delete those because those were, pretty whatever.
I say it's really humbling, I think more people should do it. Go find a way to go into your couple's houses, normally with permission. Don't just break in, but like go into one of your couple's houses after the wedding or after the engagement shoot and look at the photos that they printed, because I can fucking guarantee that they are not the ones that you would have printed. I remember going into one of my couple's houses because their rings broke, so I went back and retook their ring photos for them. And I walked in and one of the wedding photos was blown up as a huge canvas in the house. And I was like, what the fuck is that photo?
Yeah.
No, not that photo. But they loved it. They were like, this is our favorite photo of the entire thing. And it's really humbling to just go into one of your couple's houses and just realize that we know fucking nothing. We know heaps about camera settings. We know lots about leading lines. We know lots about what technically makes a good photo. But at the end of the day, that means fuck all in the eyes of the people that are actually paying for the photos. And there are some that are like, you take a photo, and this is why we do it, like, because we do lots of movement. So as much as we're very similar, we're also kind of the polar opposites, because you like stillness. I like, if my couple stands still for more than 35 seconds, I start freaking out.
Hey, don't get that twisted. I'll say this. We love movement.
We do love
We just don't show it.
Yeah.
There's like, I always say, people only see, and still, we'll only see probably 1% of our work.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just like, it's meaningful to the couple. And if we posted it on anything, they'd be like, okay, who gives a shit? And I'm like, yeah, but no, like this literally is like a generational photo that they are going to cherish forever. They've already told us. So, so we love moving too. Don't get that twisted.
Yes.
But it was like, and so I'll deliver, if they're walking towards me, like I'm like, go that way and then walk back towards, because I work with a lot of neurospicy people. So me being too close, and I really got to warm them up to the photo thing. So I'll deliver like 8 to 10 photos of them walking from there to here, because I don't know what one they're going to like better. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, we like this one because I like the way that he's kind of looking this direction more. And I'm like, I fucking hate that photo because 3 of his fingers are cut out of it. Like it's, and it just, we know fucking nothing. We mean nothing.
That's the beautiful thing about this.
Yeah.
Is that you just have to, like I said, document the proof of things happening, and chances, like, they're always going to love them.
Totally.
Like, because you're just like, that's what happened. I can't rewrite the day. I was like, people were doing things. If you're mad, be mad at them for doing the things. We were just documenting that happen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And this is where, and we talk a lot here. I say we, it's just fucking me here, about client experience. And I try to teach people that client experience when I go to workshops. I don't teach too much about like business or I definitely don't teach about photography because I'm not that great. But like I talk about client experience because, like you said, that's all that's actually going to matter. And if you have a negative experience when taking the photos, then you'll attach a negative experience to the photos that you're looking at. So as much as we spend heaps of time trying to take really good photos, this is why we're seeing all of these like newer photographers coming in and they're fucking killing it. They're absolutely killing the game because they're giving the clients that experience because they know what they want. Like maybe they got married and their photographer was heaps old school and they had a shit time because they had to stand still and they went out for 2 hours of portraits or whatever. So then they were like, I don't ever want anybody else to go through what I went through. So now I'm going to be a wedding photographer so I can fix it. And they're taking photos in 15 minutes in the fucking car park of them just hugging out, like hanging out and kissing. And their clients fucking love them because the experience is so much better. And all of these weird ass candids and everything that we do in between are meaning so much more now. And like, you know, people are like, yeah, we only deliver 500 photos and they're all bangers. And those businesses are like falling to the wayside where the people that are actually leaning into client experience and actually delivering things that people want to see are like taking off and they're all over the internet now. It's wild.
Yeah, that's why we, you know, people always think that we have like a tremendous amount of time for portraits, but we're right there. We're 15 minutes. If we're lucky, we're getting 20. And the one thing that we never are is like we're not pushy with portraits. I think that's why we've developed the style that we did. That's why we stopped being so like I don't like purists about like it needs to be done in camera.
Yeah.
One, the client could care less. Like they assume you're photoshopping. I don't know if you every single time someone does anything, they're like, yeah, Photoshop it out. So they're already assuming you're photoshopping things. I was like, you might as well do it for the creative stuff. That's why we developed like the extreme version of what we do now, is because we can just grab little elements or even just some cutesy moments and then stitch them together with a few things, and now all of a sudden it's like a wall hanger that they're gonna really cherish. And it took them no effort. Sometimes they're like, I'm excited to see what ends up happening, because we'll show them, you know, like something from our portfolio of like, here's the general idea of what we're going for. But we're really getting a picture of your hands with the rings, so we can knock out that picture. So you have your little details of your rings. And then we're going to get you guys standing here to show off whatever, the ceremony area or the tree you got married under or the back of the venue. And then we'll throw in, like lately we've been doing like silhouettes of them in their vows. So it's like you got your vows, your rings, the all the plot, the whole setting and everything. But for them, it took zero time at all. Because a lot of our clients, we're just like, if you end the day and you say, that was such a good day, I loved every minute of it, you're going to love your photos. Because it's a reflection of that. But if we never take people. Once they are done, like we call it photo submitting. Once they say, I'm good, it's like, okay, that's it. Like, no is a complete sentence. So I will never ask you for another thing, because we'll definitely say, like, are you sure? And they're like, yep, 100%. I was like, cool, perfect. Noted. It is done, so now we're going full candid.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the day, and yeah, the photos are going to reflect that if they had a good time.
Yeah, I was also going to say, like, another thing that we were listening to your podcast with Summer, and you had mentioned that sometimes you take your couples out because they need a minute and they need a break to, like, leave, but they're not necessarily, like, you did portrait session already, you did all that stuff. That I feel like is a really, like, really good skill to have, to, like, know when to, maybe it's appropriate to, hey, I see you're getting overwhelmed. Do you want to step outside real quick? We can maybe grab a couple extra portraits. You guys can just spend some moments together. Or like you said, like, no one's going to question if I pull you out. So, like, let's just go out and just hang out outside for a second, and we'll just act like we're taking pictures. We've definitely had situations like that, even when they've been done with portraits, but then they're like, well, I might want to get a couple more because I just want to leave the situation. So it's really, like you said, like, going back to, like, client experience, like, I think it's super important to, like, also be able to, like, read those little tells within the day as well, because it is a super stressful day, and most of the time it's people's first time going through that kind of an experience. So we want to make it as best as we can and as easy as we can, while still getting, like, things that we want to get, and, hyping them up and getting them excited and keeping them, like, happy and not stressed and not overwhelmed, just as much as, getting cool portraits and stuff.
And that's why, so we do a similar thing where, like, I try to leave the couple session on a high. Like, I'll be like, because I'll fucking, and that's where my style's a bit different, in that we start really kind of, like, soft and tender, and they go for a little bit of a walk, and then I'll build them up to where we, like, leave, and we're at, like, the crescendo, and I'll leave it there. Same with, like, the bridal party photos. And this is where, and if you listen to the summer podcast, and have you heard all of it, where we went through timelines?
Yeah, we listened to it 5 times. No, we listened to it once.
Just to make sure. I still listen to it when I go to bed. I've spent so many hours on the phone with Summer, where now we just Instagram call, so that, because we're both doing very similar things, where we're, like, trying to get our communities and stuff going. So it'll just be like a fucking Instagram call, and it's like 10 p.m. her time, and it's 1 p.m. my time, or like 9 a.m. And we're just fucking crunching numbers or trying to get something to work. But do you go out for sunset photos and stuff as well? Like, are you doing any of that? No. What the fuck?
When we heard that, we had thought about, we were like, when's the last time we even photographed during a sunset? And I think it was one time in the last year and a half.
Totally.
Now, I will say, we're not anti-sunset. I just, I think our clients just, like, our clients just don't care. Yeah. So if they don't care, I'm not gonna be whatever. Now, I will say, the only thing that like, for us, that would, like, need a sunset is, like, a crispy ring of fire photo. Like, that is, like, it just makes it better. Now, we've gotten to the point that we can use it with, like, any light, but it does look better with the sunset.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I literally don't know, like, when that big turn happened. But, like, we just stopped getting requests for, like, sunset time. If anything, the thing with, I will say, at least Florida weddings. Travel weddings, no one really cares too much. But with Florida, people typically want sunset during ceremony.
Yeah.
That's the bigger request. So that's why a lot of people will do, like, first looks with us, because they want sunset for their ceremony.
Yeah.
And that takes definitely a little bit more finesse. Yeah, it's...
We don't do that many first looks here. at all.
Well, we've kind of, so we went through like a period where it was like predominantly first looks, and it was first looks not just with the couple, but it was like they were doing everything. So they were doing the couple's portraits, the wedding party, and family photos because they wanted to enjoy cocktail hour. So everyone lately, I will say, not everyone, but like probably like 70% of our weddings, people are very participatory in their cocktail hour, because as much as I show in the show, like the interesting portraits and the alternative stuff, most people do come once they see full galleries. They're like, yeah, but your candid work is good. It's great. So I want more of this. And I think that's why, like, because they just want to like enjoy that later part. They want to get all the stuff done earlier, especially if it's a couple that has like done an engagement session with us. Mm-hmm. Normally, they've already got a shit ton of like wall hanger photos, and they're like pretty honest with us. They'll be like, I'm probably only going to put up 1 or 2 more on the walls because I have so much. I like the photos of us in not formal attire. It's cool that it's in our everyday gear. So they're like, I don't need as many portraits on the wedding day, which is like, yeah, it's fine if you, hey, whatever you want to do. Like we are so go with the flow. And I think that's also why like our clientele now is like so chill.
Yeah.
Like we almost never have like many formalities anymore. Like do you guys still do like garter tosses?
I did them on the weekend. They're not garter tosses. Isn't that? It's hard because our receptions can go for like, how long's your reception time? Like from end of
anywhere
ceremony,
from
probably like.
Well, are you including cocktail hour?
Nah, from when you enter the reception.
Okay, so like once they're doing like an entrance into
like
it, 3 to 4, 5 hours.
Yeah.
What do they do in that time if there's no formalities? Our
Party.
formalities are mainly to just like fill the time, like rather than just sitting around and chatting and getting bored. We have like, we don't do heaps of garter tosses. That's kind of going. Bouquet tosses, not that often.
it's like 70% like no garter tosses.
But we do, or I'd be like 90% no garter tosses.
Yeah. We don't do. We did one in the last 2 years of a garter toss.
Yeah.
Like when we saw it last year, we were like, "Whoa, holy crap!" I was like, "Damn, this feels like a throwback."
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, but we have like some MCs and stuff here that do like games, and they do like scavenger hunts during the series, and, like,
what?
they're always sick. Do you have scavenger hunt?
No.
What? No.
No.
What are you looking for? Drugs?
So we don't have to look for the drugs. The drugs find you. But if you
Sniff the coke out.
yeah, but no, the MC will host like a scavenger hunt, and he puts like 12. There's a couple of MCs here that do it, and it's always so fucking good. And you wait till like after the speeches and shit, and that's all done, and then you put like 12 chairs on the middle of the dance floor, and then the MC stands there and he's like, I need 12 volunteers. If you don't volunteer, I'm just gonna fucking come and grab you. And then he just comes and grabs people. So like one from each table or something. They need a volunteer, someone from each table. And then you sit there and the MC will just call out random items. Well, not random. He's got them fucking written down. But he's like, go and find like a woman's shoe. And then they have to like run out into the crowd, find a woman's shoe. And then while they're running out, he removes one of the chairs. And like
That's
you come back.
incredible.
That's wild.
I love
Yeah,
that.
and then
Hey,
it's like
Americans, take note.
Right.
Yeah,
Do that shit.
Everybody in the world take note. It's so fucking good. Like, find a woman's shoe, find something pink, find something smelly, find someone hairy.
That's awesome.
And then it normally finishes with like, because there's be one chair left and 2 people. And it's like, first person to get the groom back here. And then the groom fucking sprints as fast as he can. And then these other 2 people are going to try to catch him and carry him back to the dance floor and put him on the chair.
Yo, that's wild.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
we
no
don't
one's
have
doing
that.
anything
No.
like that.
I think the closest thing we have is like we've had a couple DJs or MCs who do like they pass around the napkins or whatever, and then it stops, and whoever gets stuck with the napkin, you have to like dance or do something like crazy, like kiss the person to your left or whatever, like that kind of stuff. But it's never been like a scavenger hunt. That sounds way more fun.
Scavenger hunt. Grab the groom.
That sounds way more fun.
We've
Yeah,
had,
ours
like,
ends up just being dancing for hours.
Dancing for hours.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
Well, no, it'd be hot in Florida too, because it just gets really fucking hot here.
Hey, dog,
So-
it's called
We got
inside, bro.
Air conditioning. Dude.
Inside.
Yeah.
Are you guys allowed to get married inside?
No, we're not actually allowed inside. The spiders are inside. We can't go in there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the spiders.
You can't go outside because the kangaroos get you. So there's just a real. You got to sit on the patio, and you just.
Oh yeah, you guys are fucked either way.
Yeah. No, but it's very hot, and a lot of the venues in Australia, or especially in Adelaide, anyway. I can speak. I travel all around, but mainly Adelaide. Are like barn weddings. So you're like it's an old shed with fucking those string lights and stuff. So there's no AC in there. It's hot as shit. If it's like really hot outside, it's normally hotter inside the reception space.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but
that makes
ideally, we have a lot of like outdoor ceremonies, outdoor receptions as well, where like there's just a dance floor outside, and you get proper fucked up outside, where you're just like hanging out, and everybody's like very.
Yeah, that's what a lot of them will end up being. It's just like big benders, just people getting wild. But like they just, I don't know, they got it's like a marathon. They're just like, no, we'll just keep going. But then like lately, we've been having a lot of weddings that have like an after party as well. So on top of like the full reception, then they'll go out into town and go to the bars and stuff. And I'm like, whew, it gets wild.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just my couples, but by like 10:30, 11 o'clock, even my couple are like, let's wrap this up. Let's go to bed.
If it's past 11, I'm like genuinely, I'm not upset, but I'm like, dude, I haven't stayed up till 11 p.m. in quite some time. This is going to be a struggle. I was like, is there an espresso bar?
What would be your standard timing? Do you do 8 hours?
As far as like, so I'd say our most popular coverage is 8, but we do a ton that are 6 because I feel like in the last like probably like 3 years, we've had more requests for people that like don't want getting ready pictures like at all. So we'll start with, if they're doing a first look, we show up, we'll do the details, and we'll do like tail end of getting ready. Because they're just like, I just want the pictures of, put the dress on, or, finishing up like suit details, or if they're wearing a suit that is like already ready. But then it's just kind of like right into it. I feel like that's their, so like your equivalent of like taking them out to like have a breather. I think a lot of our couples just have their like decompression time before everything starts, and they're just like, okay, this is me time, and then just mentally prepping for the next 6 to 10 hours of just like talking to friends, saying hi to everyone, dancing, doing all the formal stuff, because like once it starts, they're like, we're just in it. We're in the grind. So it's 8 hours is definitely our most common, but like I said, we've just had so many people, because we, put non-traditional in everything, so people will just kind of like do whatever they want on the wedding day. So there's not like, there's really not like a particular formula that happens anymore. We had one that was like, everything was like getting readies, ceremony, family formals, portraits. They wouldn't be there for cocktail hour, then reception. But now it's just like every time it's different. Yeah. Especially because we do like, lately we've been doing like, outside of just like small elopements, it's been like all day elopements. So like people have been like planning full day excursions. Like we were in New Orleans. Our couple came over from the UK, and it was like hung out at their sweet boutique hotel. Then they had their ceremony, and then they were like, after, we want to go to this sweet restaurant. It's called Turkey and the Wolf, and it's like super famous sandwich shop. So we're like, we want to go do this, and then we want to go get tattoos, and then we want to just like walk around downtown New Orleans. So it feels like people have been putting in activities throughout their day, which, I mean, honestly, I love it.
Yeah.
It tells like a bigger story throughout the day. I was like, it really feels like you did a lot in a day. There are those times where people will, book for 8 hours, and they're like, we have a huge party crowd. Like all the homies, they get down, and then they leave 2 hours early, and there's like 20 people left, and they're like, didn't expect that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, no one can really plan for that to happen. And it's pretty rare, but I always feel bad when that happens. I was like, oh man. But it's usually because they, sometimes I feel like it's the DJ's fault.
Yeah.
I was like, you're supposed to keep them entertained.
The DJ's fault. It's
I was like, keep them entertained, bro. Yeah. Do you guys have a problem where DJs don't play? We're gonna get all the DJs hating us now. Where they don't play the playlist that the couples want, like any of their songs.
It happens on occasion, and this is where it's like I feel this is where good DJs are good and bad DJs are really
damn right.
bad. A good DJ, because like when we got married, and I married a Bianca as well, so great choice of names. And she's also called B. When I married my wife, we gave my DJ Riley from Tennis and Events. Love you, Riley, if you're watching this. I think you do actually, because he's coming on. But I gave him my playlist. I was like, hey man, we listen to deathcore. Like, what we listen to is not wedding music. It is not things that you would play at a wedding. And I was like, here's the pop punk powerhouses playlist, like it's got all the old emo bangers. I was like, if you can sprinkle some of these in, that'd be sick. But just do you do whatever you think's going to work. And he just fucking nailed it. He absolutely, what's the saying? Kicked it out of the park, whatever the fuck it is. It was so good. We literally didn't stop dancing from the moment that dance floor opened to the moment we went home. And he would like sprinkle in little emo bangers, and then he would like bring it back, and he would bring the crowd in, and that's what a good DJ will do, is that they'll be able to like, and I heard someone told me this, and I can't remember who the fuck it was, and it's about club DJs. And club DJs are supposed to, because they work for the venue. Now, hopefully a DJ listens to this and can fucking tell me this. But they work for the venue, and their job is to play songs. Oh, fuck me. And not play songs and fuck me, but play songs and then send people to the bar based on the song. So they'll be like, they'll play banger, and then they'll play banger, and then they'll play banger, and then they play something that's not as much of a banger. So people go and get a drink, because that way the venue makes more money. Yeah, it's a whole psychology behind it.
Yeah, that is pretty smart.
And then they like play another banger. So like they know they've got a drink, they play a banger, they bring everybody back to the dance floor, and then they play something that's not as good. And then they go spend more money at the bar, and then they come back onto the dance floor, and it's this whole back and forth. And that's what good wedding DJs should be doing, is like finding that mix rather than just playing the ABBA playlist and then playing all the old music and then hoping that the fucking young people come on later. What Riley does, and he's fantastic. And he posted fucking spreadsheet recently of all of the songs he played over the season, and he played on average it was like 60 seconds of a song, and he played like 200 and something over a wedding or whatever, and it was an average of 60 seconds. So it's just like just the good bit, just the good bit, just the good bit, just the good bit. Whereas then you find DJs turn up and they've just got a laptop and like a Rode little system, and they just like play the whole song, and then they play the whole song, and like nothing fucking happens.
Yeah, I feel like a DJ really can like make or break a wedding. I don't think it's talked enough about, but like invest in a good DJ, because we've had ones that are just like so phenomenal, and it was just like, yeah, it just feels like they really thought about it. Like they really thought about like the entire night and those lulls. I was gonna say, do you guys have open bars, or do you have a lot of weddings where people have to? Oh, okay. I was like,
we have open bars all the time, like constantly, especially in Florida. Like it is a very common practice here.
Yeah, every wedding's sponsored by Tito's Vodka.
Yeah.
Most weddings, so we don't have open spirits normally. They just do like beer, wine, and soft drink is normal.
Okay.
Like beer, wine, and soft drink.
It's probably for the best though, especially places that have like a heavy hand and just like annihilate people.
Or they open spirits at like 10 p.m. So it's not like
that's
you don't
smart
start.
Though.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
dude, we have spirits are all day.
Yeah,
from the beginning all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we have like beer, wine, and soft drink until, maybe cider as well until like 10 p.m. And then they bring out the spirits, or like just the bridal party gets the spirits, and then everybody else has to like purchase them or something. But I tell all of my couples, this is back to DJs because I just want to say it in case a couple listens to this. If you want a dance floor on your wedding day and you want to have fun, you can't leave that to a Spotify playlist. I said any couple that comes to me and they're like, yeah, we're just thinking about having a Spotify playlist. I'm like, well, do you want to have a dance floor? And I'm like, and they're always like, oh, yeah, we want to dance. I'm like, then you need to get a DJ. We've done like 400 weddings now. We have never been to a wedding that had a good dance floor and a Spotify playlist. They're not in the same conversation.
That's what I love about a good, like a wedding band too. Dude, like a full live band. Dude, literally the most fun.
It's so
ever.
fun.
As long as they're good.
I'm the opposite. I don't like live bands. They're always too loud.
Dude, you gotta have it loud. You gotta rock. I thought you were a rocker, bro. You
I'm a
don't like it
rocker,
too
bro,
loud?
but they're just like, I don't want to listen to someone sing ABBA worse. Like, just play it.
That is true. There is.
To be fair,
Yeah,
okay.
we've
All right, fair.
been in very
But
many situations where
but
they're
I
terrible.
feel like that gives good dialogue for the people who aren't dancing and sitting, and they get to talk mad shit. It's a kind of a win-win. If they're bad, it's hilarious, and if they're great, it's amazing.
We've had a few that are very good. There are a few bands here that are very good. And there are a few bands here that shit me to tears. And I fucking, every time I see them on the list, I get upset. I don't ever say anything out loud because I'm a great guy. But I was actually just talking to one of the painters on the weekend about it. But it is there. A little fluffy.
Sorry, my face
How
came
often
off.
do you shave your head? This has got nothing to do with weddings, but how often do you shave your head?
Normally, I shave it every week. I grew it out so that we didn't look similar. No, yeah. See, that's normally what it looks like. No, I try to do it once a week, but the last 2 weeks has been, I don't know, I just haven't done it.
Yeah, I think it was because we were also getting like our bathroom renovated, so we didn't really have like a shower for a little while, and we had to go take showers at family members' house. So shaving the head is
messed up
just
the whole
gets,
routine.
gets
of, like,
itchy.
the head
You don't know how to
shave.
shave your head in the bathroom? I have to go out on the fucking back lawn.
Oh no, we have. He has to do it.
No,
in the
but
bathroom,
I don't want to
after.
drive with like the hair all over my body, and then you're just
okay.
like,
Yeah,
then
it
you're
gets
like
itchy.
freaking out the whole time. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
that
a
makes
method to the
sensible sense.
madness. Yeah.
So when you let's go way back to actually talking about photography because that's mainly what people listen to. When you before we get really in depth into shaving our heads and just start talking through the science. Wait, no, actually, how do you do your ears? How do you do behind your ears, or do you get B to help you?
No, or I just do the whole thing. But we're never apart.
Yeah.
Like it has been not being apart for 9 years.
Yeah.
We're just literally always together. So.
And you married your best friend. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, bub. Yeah.
Not enough people do that.
The other demon. Yeah, no,
see all those people, they're like, oh, yeah, geez, I've got to go back to your old wife and kids. But, like, I'd like my wife and kids. I like being at home.
Who would have thunk that married the person who's your favorite person in the entire world? And I think that's, like, the great thing about this job is when you see the couples, and, you hope it's every couple, but, you always see those couples where you're just like, you're going to be together forever. You're just like, there is no, you are literally made for each other. I think that's like the most enjoyable thing about this job is seeing other people that are like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, you're one of us. You're mates. You guys actually enjoy each other's company. How do you
like
find
penguins.
it working together? I think we already know the answer, but do you ever find any like tension? I mean, you guys have been doing it for so long, so that tension and stuff's probably gone. But like, I don't know if I'd be able to work with my Bianca, because I have a very direct way of talking to my staff and people around me at wedding days. But like, I would never tell Bianca to get the fuck out of the way, ever. And I think I would just be more polite.
Yeah, no, we definitely. I think when we're working, we always know it's not personal. But it's like a mutual thing where we say just like, no, like you can be like, you're like this idea is fucked. Like, what are you doing? Like, like, stop being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Normally it's me being a fucking idiot, but yeah, no, we're just like pretty straightforward, and the kind of way we've always run this company has always been like, because I don't know, we've never second shot for anyone. So we don't know how this operates outside of this. So we were like, the only thing we related it to was like a mom and pop pizzeria. I was like, we would see how they operate. And when they're trying to dish out 100 pizzas, it's just about serving the customer. And we're just like, no, this is not personal. These are no personal attacks. We are just trying to get this freaking job done, and with like the most care and consideration.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's times when we're obviously like might be frustrated with each other, but it's usually for like really dumb shit. And like, it's funny because even nowadays, if we're like in each other's way, we're just like, we forget sometimes that like we can remove each other. It's okay. Like, it's really fine. Like, we've had like full-blown like 10-minute spouts of just being like, you were freaking in the way of them hugging, and you're like, dude, can get you out.
Photoshop.
It's literally
Easy.
no big deal.
Yeah.
It's so fine. And we're just like, and then you'll see the photos and you're like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, I'll get fucked. I'm an idiot.
So how did you then book your first wedding? Because I also came from never second shooting for anybody. So I only know the Joshua Huggett media method. Like, I only know my own way. I only shoot in my own way. I've never second shot for anybody before. I worked side by side with Justin from Aftershoot in Peru. And I guess I was kind of a second shooter then, but I'd also like shot 200 weddings by then. So like and I just did my own thing. But how do you then go, how do you go from like art school, I like photography, now I'm a wedding photographer? How do you get that first one in the books?
So the first one for us was...
We just photographed her family friend.
Yeah, it was a family friend. And they just knew I was into photography, so they were like, oh, well, you know, you can definitely shoot this wedding. And
They
then...
pretty much didn't give her an option.
No,
they were
they
just
didn't.
like,
They
you're...
were-
Because, like, for them, like, she grew up in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so she was always the photographer of the neighborhood. So they were just like, even
Yeah.
before she went to art school, they had
I've been
always
doing
joked.
this
They were
since I
like,
was, like,
she's going to
15.
photograph,
Yeah.
you know, Clint's wedding, blah, blah, blah. And so... Yeah, that's literally what happened. I
Yeah.
feel like that, like the origins of that is definitely not a unique one. It was literally just like family friend. Here's a few $100. Have at it.
Yeah.
And it was
you-
yeah, it was
And then
fine.
I
It was a mess.
Were you like, was wedding photography ever on your spectrum of things that you wanted to do? Because I don't think it ever is for anybody.
No, I was, you know, typical young person wanting to do editorial, magazines, all that stuff. But then I quickly realized that the things I was looking for within like more like editorial magazine stuff was more, it wasn't so rigid in the like wedding photography world. Like I could still do like product photography, I could still do portraits, I could still do candids, I could still do all of these things. I could still make things happen and like make it really fun looking or do it really traditional, and still have like ideas and creativity and stuff like that within a wedding day. And I didn't have to like answer to like a magazine or a publication or something like that. So it once we kind of like figured out that freedom level of photographing weddings with that, it kind of opened up that world that I had never like known before. But prior to that, I was not into weddings.
Yeah, I think, and again, I said it earlier, but it's like those first, I don't know, 20 weddings are just like figuring out every problem.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, first wedding, don't have a contract. Let's get a contract. Next is like, hey, you know what'd be a good idea is if we like wrote out the whole family formal list. Let's do that. It would probably make it a lot smoother than just being like, is there anything else you want? And then for some reason it takes an hour to do that. And you're just like, okay, there's definitely got to be a more efficient way to do this. And it's literally just like never-ending problem solving until you're like, okay, we've run out of problems to figure out.
Yeah.
That's how I learned photography, was the exact same problem-solving method. I like got given a camera, and I did photography in high school, but we learnt on film, and we did some digital work, but like not heaps. It was more about like, this is how you fucking put film in the water and you bring it out and you go in a dark room. But then I like got a camera and I was like, I got to figure out how to use it. So it was like, I watch a YouTube video. Great. Cool. I want the backgrounds to be blurrier. How do I make the backgrounds blurrier? So like fucking Google like how to make the background blurrier on my camera, and then it was like learning manual settings, and it was like, great, what do these fucking things mean? And then I went and like I'd shoot an event for free, and I'd be like, right, so I couldn't really take that many photos in the dark. Why couldn't I take photos in the dark? So like, great, I need a flash, so that'll help me with that. You know, why was it so grainy? Great, because I need to pull this down. And same thing with weddings. It's like, I watched a lot of Taylor Jackson's videos when I first going to my first weddings. Like I'd sit there and I would just watch him shoot an entire wedding day, and I'd be like, this is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And then just like learn exactly like you said, like, yeah, writing this down would be sick. That's so fucking good. Anytime I get an email more than once, I'd automate it, and I already answer that question. And this is where, again, fucking back to client experience. One day I'm going to make a podcast that's not just about client experience, but like most of the people that book us and will book you, and most of the people getting married have never been married before. So they're doing this all for the first time. So the earlier that you can show that you know what you're doing and you're answering questions before they even turn up, the more confidence they're going to have in you when you get to the actual wedding day. So you are free to just do whatever the fuck you want. Like we tell I tell my couples I've got a really tidy what have I got? I've got a really tidy behind, so that the front end of me can be really loose.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it's like our back end system, like our booking system, our timelines, everything we do. And this is what stresses me out about what you said before about how every one of your wedding days is different now and you just don't know what's happening. That stresses me out. But everything that we do on the back end is tight as fuck. Like I know my timelines, I know everything.
I was gonna say that too. We are very tight on the back end too. Like
it's
know
just different structures throughout the day. But it is 95% fully planned, so that when we show up to the day, we can just be present because we know exactly what we have to do. Like I think you said it. Like you don't have planners, right? So like most weddings that we photograph don't have planners either. So because we're with the couple pretty much the entire day, our timeline becomes the timeline for the day.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of at the point now, although we just go by like hourly, we have pretty much every possible mathematical combination you can do going into a wedding day. So if a couple wants to move stuff around, we're like, here's this person's timeline of how they went about their day. And they're like, oh, perfect. Because most people are visual. Once they see it, they're like, oh, well, this makes sense. And I really feel like, on the client experience, our jobs as wedding photographers is to also educate the clients, like why you're doing stuff. Like we're not just making these things up. Like a lot of them have a reason why we're doing them. And most clients are super understanding. Once you say, here's why we do X, Y, and Z, here's why this takes a certain amount of time. And they're like, oh, perfect. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. And now I can figure out how much time I'm allotted for all these things.
Yeah.
So it's like constantly educating.
Yeah, we're definitely like, again, going in with like, as much as we say that everything is different and we don't really know what's going to happen kind of thing, that's more so on the end of people are very likely to not do the same thing over and over again that someone else did. So there's variations in that. But as far as like prep goes, like we have our questionnaire that we send them. We get all the information that we can. We come fully like type A, we're ready to go. But then we also like super go with the flow of the day. So if something isn't working out, we make it work and figure out how to like rearrange it on a dime kind of thing.
Yeah, we say as long as you got married, you succeeded on the day.
Yeah.
So just get that part done. And
this is why we have such a tidy behind, is so that we can literally just get to the wedding day and do whatever the fuck we want to do. Because I kind of know, like I work 12 till 10 pretty much every Saturday. 12 p.m. I start, I finish at about 10 p.m. Sometimes it's 12:30, sometimes it's 11:30. It's about there. So at any point of the day, I pretty much know where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be up to. But I tell my couple, so like, even if you don't answer any of my emails, you don't do anything, all I need to know is where the boys are in the morning, and then I'll just fucking figure the rest out. Like,
even we are the same. We're like start time, location.
Just tell me where you are in the morning, and I'll fucking be there.
Yep.
And then I just follow you through the day. I'm just there. Like,
Literally.
I don't
Yeah.
need to go and do all of this stuff and locate. And we don't location scout either because, exactly like it's scary how similar we are. But I don't want to fucking know. I don't want to go in there. I did it one time when I was first starting because I was in. And when you were talking about the biggest Facebook group that was like in 2017, 2018, I thought you were going to say Ben Hartley's Facebook group because that was fucking popping back in the day.
I think he was one of the big dogs. I forget what avenue he was in, but I think
His
it was
business and building out your business and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because I feel we have we're signed up for his newsletter, and I don't know how
we?
to stop. Yeah, I don't know how to stop it. So we just get emails in our spam all the time. But back in him because I think looks like film kind of branched off from what was those presets that
Tribe
were
Archipelago.
No,
LXC,
it wasn't that. It was
Meridian.
No, it was that light and airy one. Jimmy, whatever his name was.
Oh. Maston
Labs had a group, but it was only for their presets. Looks like film was for any presets, for any photographer. It was I think the highest that it got was 80 to 100K people in that group.
And yeah, pretty much when people were posting photos, it was you'd say if you wanted to do a little fucking caption or whatever, but it was people would write the lens, the body, and the preset.
Yeah.
It
was back when presets were starting out and popping. Yeah. And then looks like film, I think kind of because all the preset people had their own groups, and then looks like film was fuck all the presets, let's just do a conglomeration of everything and throw everybody in there and see what happens. So I think that's kind of that, how that kind of worked. But Ben, I think he was in that era as well. So you were in one or the other kind of thing. I think there was a handful of those kind of people.
Yeah.
During that time.
And where we are almost the same people, we are almost also completely opposite, I feel, because you guys are creatives through and through. You're as creative as physically fucking possible, and you've got this amazing brains that you can just see these images and see all this sort of stuff. I came from the other side where I was a business person that really liked business, and I fucking love numbers, and I love statistics, and I love marketing numbers, and I love all this back end stuff. And I also just happen to really like photography. So I was able to kind of mesh my things together, and I'm a business person that likes taking photos, whereas lots of people are photographers and creatives that are then learning how to start a business, and they do the same sort of thing. I want to talk very quickly about you two embracing your weird, and how did you have a time where you kind of tried to fit the mold of what you thought wedding photographers and stuff should be, or did you come out of the gates and you're no, we are Kyle and B, this is who we are?
Man, I mean, yeah, I feel like there was a thing of things you had to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that there was this big insurmountable pressure to be one way or another. I'll tell you a quick little story. The biggest pivotal change for us in our business and how we operated everything. It's a sad story, but it really just changed how we view weddings and why we leave it all on the table. We want to end the day used up. We want to be nothing left to give. So I think it was 2018. So we had photographed this couple, and they had friends come from out of state. And super small wedding in a park. It was super chill. Beautiful day. And so because it was, limited people, we just gave everyone undivided attention. It was one of the first weddings where we really got to just there was a mini album of every person, essentially, by the end of it. And so the whole day, beautiful. It was a really, really beautiful, beautiful day. And it came to the speeches, and the best man, who he finally got to see his friend get married, they were a gay couple. And in Florida, it was illegal until the year prior. And so his friend finally got to see his best friend get married. Came down from Maine. It was this beautiful day. And on his last little line. He goes, and as a drunk Irishman once said, and then he collapsed. Everyone laughed because they thought, oh, a drunk guy, he falls, he does stuff. His heart stopped. He died immediately. And we were like, we didn't know how to process what just happened. The day was done. But it was that moment we were like, I'm so glad that we were able to photograph so much of him, because everyone said, focus on the couple, like get a couple of the guests and whatever. And we were like, no, we need to, they're just as important. And, you know, those ended up being some, like the last photos of him existing. His wife and kids weren't there. So they got to see these photos of their partner and their dad, like smiling, having such a good time. Included him in tons of like the creative portraits and stuff. So it was like, that was the moment where we were like, everything is so precious on this day. We need to focus on everybody. As much as we focus on the creative stuff, as much as we do all these things, like we need to give every bit of what we have in this. And that is what kind of led us to where we are now, is like that constant thing of like, I want you to use every bit of what we have. Like we want to end this day drained, sweaty, back broken. Like that way we know it's like, well, we gave it all. Like there's nothing more we could possibly do to serve you. Like, and that day was just like, it was like the most eye-opening, because we finally, like, we saw it like firsthand of like, it can all end tomorrow. It could end right now. And you need to focus on making sure that people are seen, make sure that people are heard, and make sure that they are cared for just as much as the primary clients. They invited everyone there. That obviously means something so tremendous to them. And if we're going to be responsible for holding people's memories, we need to hold all of these people's memories.
Yeah.
I know it's sad, but like, it is like, I hope no one has to go through that, but it's like, I think it's just like really important. We always get caught up in, you know, building the portfolio and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but the portfolio means nothing if you can't document people in their like most joyous state and enjoying people's love.
Yeah, and I think that like at that point too, we did kind of make a decision to like block out all of the other noise that like, because I was like at a time where workshops and all of that kind of education stuff was like really, really getting loud, and there was workshops everywhere and everybody was telling you how to run your business, and we just kind of put our heads down, blocked out, like literally physically on Facebook, blocked people who were other photographers in our area, who were going to these workshops, who were trying to tell people how to run their businesses, who were making us second guess ourselves.
Yeah. How to shoot, just, like don't deliver too many photos.
Yeah.
Don't do this. And I was like,
we were just like, I don't want to hear
like,
the noise. Like we're just gonna stay in our lane. We're gonna do what we feel is right, and kind of like that, like, you know, fuck it. We're going to try our hardest and go like full send with this, because we know how important it is, and we know like what we're doing is important to people. And, you know, even with the creative stuff, like, you know, our clients really like that, and we want to give them, like he was saying, like our all. And if that's going to be wavered by the opinion of people online that we don't even really know, it's stupid. It's silly. Like I'd rather just not hear the noise. And so we just kind of like, we were part of like those big groups. We really did like pull out from that at that time, I think.
Yeah, it was literally right around that time.
Yeah.
Because we were like, honestly, this means fuck all.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
really
literally
great,
so about, I was like, I think we're forgetting why we are all here.
Yeah.
And I heard this one thing a couple days ago, and it's funny because people will say as photographers that we're artists. But this one particular person, he was like, you know, as wedding photographers, if you stop thinking yourself as an artist and start thinking yourself as a craftsman, because you got to think like a chair, I guess you could be considered art, but it serves a purpose. And I was like, it's, you know, it's supposed to sit your butt in it. So a craftsman is thinking about the functionality of what they're making. They're not necessarily thinking, I need to make the most beautiful artisanal chair just because it looks pretty. They're like, no, it needs to be comfortable. It needs to fit the human form. It needs to be comfortable to sit on, blah, blah, blah. And I think like us as photographers, we still need to remember like that our work has a function and it has a purpose and it can be art. But it specifically with like wedding photography and even like family photography, like our stuff has purpose. Like it is, because art is subjective. But if the client, it means something to them, it's not subjective. That it's for them. It's not for us. We can think this was a great day. This was an artistic photo. This was a whatever photo. But this is not for us. This is for the client. This is always for the client. It will always be for the client. And so that it like blew my mind because I'm like, oh, dude, that's such a better way to look at this, because there's so many times where you're like, oh, I would like to do this photo. And if you're not thinking of, I would like to do this photo because the couple would like it, then you need to take a step back from why you're going to be doing this particular thing in the first place.
That's the fucking best way to end this episode ever. So fucking good. Tell everybody who you are, Bianca and Kyle. I mean, we did it at the start. Where can they find you on this wonderful, wonderful internet space that we all share together?
You can find us Instagram, Oak and Iron Photo. You can find us on YouTube at Oak and Iron World. You can find us on TikTok at Pastrami on Rye. Sorry, I know it has nothing to do with anything, but TikTok audience seems to not like when you're a business and just wants you to be a human being. And then hit up our website, www.oakandironphoto.com.
Yeah.
If you made it this far in, fucking that last 10 minutes is probably the best 10 minutes of the entire fucking series that we have. But if you're still listening to this, my name's Josh Huggett. Thanks for listening. Just let it be known that I really fucking love you, no matter where you are, until I see your little face again on Instagram or wherever you are in the world. Deuces. That's probably not how I end it. Anyway, thanks, internet.